All right, good Saturday evening to everybody here from the Storm Alert Weather Center. Daniel Wilson here this evening, and initially had not planned to do a live broadcast this evening, and this one will be brief. But I wanted to reflect back on the events that were unfolding a year ago tonight. I have placed some pictures and a short story about how things unfolded here in the Weather Center a year ago during the generational severe weather outbreak, tornado outbreak that affected parts of the South up into Kentucky, leaving a path of destruction and devastation. We want to thank everybody for your confidence in the Storm Alert Center and for allowing us to be part of your home and being part of your resources when severe weather occurs. Keith Richardson and I, as we strive to be the very best we can be to bring you weather information and keep you updated and informed. This is one of the most critical things that we can think about. And even though looking back on what happened a year ago is very difficult at times, we know that it's just a matter of time before we will experience the same thing, potentially closer to home. Even that night, we had a lady in Campbellsville to pass away from the tornado as it moved through the Sonoma community of Taylor County. And we look back on that night, and we have few regrets, very few regrets on how we handled the situation. But I also look back and think, is there something more that we could have done to have kept that one lady from dying in the storm, even though it was outside of our coverage area? We want people to understand how important that we take weather coverage here. And we've made a significant investment, a little bit over time, to have the most up-to-date weather data. We have all the subscriptions to the weather models and information that we can look at to help you have a better understanding of what's ahead. And we also have access to several members of the National Weather Service that are willing to help us, as well as other meteorologists that can come in and guide us during those times. Another reason that I wanted to come forward and talk for just a second is to discuss the amount of people that we have following our page. And at this point, it's very close to 30,000. And when I began this adventure in 2011, we picked up one, maybe 10, 15 a week, and now it's slowly grown. And one of the reasons that it's picked up is because when WBKO in Bowling Green was knocked off the air, the people back to the east of them, they were struggling to find someone in the big markets that they could receive to get weather information for areas around and east of Bowling Green, which would include Russell surrounding counties, Glasgow, over in Hart, Greene, Edmonson County. All of those places were, especially in the southern part of the counties, they were really slacking on having weather information provided. Very, not saying, that someone didn't provide services, but they were looking for weather, and we saw our numbers go up tremendously. Probably 700 or 800 that evening. And we want to say thanks to all the people. Even one lady had commented that we were chosen between Bill Meck and Lexington. They were flipping between us for severe weather coverage. And that is a humbling statement. We appreciate that so much. One of the things that I failed to mention in the post that I made early this morning is the sights and the smells and the sounds of being in Dawson Springs. It's probably one of the worst things that I have seen in a long, long time, aside from that in eastern Kentucky, the floods. But that little town of Dawson Springs was chewed up. And we were there twice. Once not long after it happened, and it was total devastation. The homes were just chewed up, and the smell. When Brother Miles Wilson and me went the first trip, it was hard to leave that place, because you realized that all of those people had lost what they had worked hard for all their life. And some of them lost their family, and they were devastated. And the smell of it was almost like a plowed ground, a disced ground, the smell of death, and an eerie sense of a feeling that I've never had before as we tracked through the debris. We went back over a week later and helped with some of the relief efforts, and then went into the damaged areas and tried to do some coverage and posted pictures and things. But they were a people of strength. They were a people of progress, and they were resilient. They were ready to take on the days ahead. They were a strong people, and all the while that we were there, we were welcomed, and I know they appreciated everything that was done, what little we did, on top of what many communities did. Even the people in eastern Kentucky came in to give, and then western helped eastern. It was all a joint effort. I want to say thank you for the people who went together, and we provided 2 deep freezes for a church there to store meat and food. And all of that was done within less than an hour. We started raising money for 1. They had told us they needed 2, and I thought if we get 1, it'll be a miracle. But we had 2 within less than an hour. And I want to say thank you all for that, and for everything that you've done. We've had a couple of other relief efforts that we've tried to help people, and they've done well. We're just here to be a good Samaritan to the people of our community, and that would be mainly Russell and surrounding counties. We work close with the Weather Service in providing information for you when that is necessary. And I want to say that when we have bad weather forecast, I can't express strongly enough that people pay attention to what we're doing, and to make sure that when we post something that you hit the share button, because sometimes Facebook will limit how many people can see it, and that is frustrating sometimes. But you can also go on to our webpage, stormalertcenter.com, and anytime we're live, we also have that streaming on our Facebook page. And if you're in Russell and the surrounding counties, it'll give you the latest watches and warnings for that particular county, stormalertcenter.com. But 1 year ago, about a week, maybe a little less than a week, I began watching the models and seeing how things were going to come together, or how we thought they would. And it was sombering to think that the setup would fall into place and that it would create havoc and do what it did the days of the December 10th and the 11th. I knew it was going to be bad. I felt like it would. None of us knew, but I had no idea that it would be as bad as it was. We watched the long track tornado go through Mayfield, Dawson Springs, up more to the northwest before it dissipated. Then that other line that came through that went into Taylor County from Bowling Green. It was just one warning after another. But we held firm. We remained firm and strong. We broadcast for 4 hours and 7 minutes, I believe. At the end of that routine, I was mentally and physically exhausted, and so was Keith Richardson. We had been here continuous coverage all that time. Went under a tornado warning that was pretty much non-eventful for Russell County. But we have strived to do the very best we can and provide information for you and to help you as we go into a new year. I don't see a lot of changes, but we always work hard to raise the bar, to do something a little different, something that's a little bit better, to make sure that people know that we're serious. You can't be mediocre in this. I mean, I take it 100% seriously, because weather is important. Whether we forecast a rainy week, that's important to the farmers, people with outdoor activities. If we forecast windy weather, that's important to those that are impacted by wind events. If we forecast heat wave, cloudy skies may be something that may not be interesting to you, but people find it necessary and need to know about it. That's why we try to do what we do. Now, as far as extended forecasts, I've been asked about having a white Christmas. Right now, there's about a 10% chance that we'll have a white Christmas. The Global Forecast System, or the GFS, right on Christmas Day, it places a line of sleet, freezing rain, and snow over around Evansville up through northwestern Kentucky, and most of that would be rainfall back to the east. We'll have to see how that plays out. Long-term forecasts for Christmas are pretty much, you can't put any confidence in those. But it's a lot of fun talking about it and telling people about it. You know, it's just take it all for a joke unless you get a day or so close to it. But that's our word about Christmas. Going back to the night of December 10th and the 11th, 2021. I want to say that event has stuck with me. Not as much as the flooding event in eastern Kentucky. Now, folks, that's the worst thing that I have seen in all my years of working around meteorology. I've never seen anything close to that, where homes were just simply wiped completely away, piled up 2 or 3 miles down the road, and then those that were standing looked like a bomb had went off inside. But going back to the tornadoes of December 2021, this should be a grim reminder to take the alerts serious and know where you're going to go and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. One of the things that I hear a lot from good people, a lot of them are good friends of mine, they ask me, is it going to get bad tonight? They ask if we're going to have a tornado. Should we go to our basement? Do you think a certain community will have a tornado? Do you think it's going to get bad? How bad is it going to be? Well, basically, we don't know that answer. And I can't tell you that. I will tell you a story that not many people know about. Being a part of a weather conference in Western Kentucky, where one of the meteorologists said, based on the setup, if you live in Western Kentucky, now this was not the December outbreak, this was 10 or 12 years ago, be prepared to go below ground. And if you don't have a below ground shelter, you need to leave your community and go somewhere outside the path of what they anticipated would be a horrible night. Well, the storm started firing up in eastern Missouri. When they got into Kentucky, they fizzled out. I mean, we had probably a third of the Commonwealth in a tornado watch area, and nothing happened. Thank goodness. But I mean, all the ingredients were there, but it all fizzled out. Now, what if it does happen? Then it's better to be prepared on this, just in case. And all of those questions that people ask, how bad is it going to be? Are we going to get a tornado? What about such and such county? Is it going to hit this community? Blah, blah, blah. We have no idea. We don't know now. We won't know the next storm event. We have no clue. We have a pretty good idea if the conditions are right. But as far as saying there will be a tornado, there will be 3 foot of snow, there will be a severe thunderstorm, we will have flooding, I have no promise of that. None at all. Nobody knows. If I knew, and I want you to listen close because I'm getting ready to wrap it up, but if I had the ability and the knowledge to say we're going to have a tornado in such and such town, everybody be prepared. Wouldn't be nobody, well, there may be some that would die because they wouldn't pay attention. But once my credibility got out, that I could predict what was going to happen, I'd be a millionaire selling my service to the people. But nobody knows that. Even people who are highly educated in the weather field, they don't know. Nobody knows. have a pretty good idea sometimes, but nobody knows. So when we're doing live weather and people says, well, what about so-and-so county? We don't know. If you're in a watch box, if you're in the tornado watch area, then be alert until the watch expires. That's the most we can tell you. But as we face December, January, and February, a lot of people says we don't have severe weather during those months. Well, we had a tornado outbreak December 10th and the 11th. Last year we had one in January the 1st of this year. We've got them potential for severe weather this coming week down in the Mid-South. And we're in line some of the worst ones I can remember seeing and knowing about, being part of. We're in December, January, February, and March. So Mother Nature does not pick and choose a particular set of months or a particular period. We have a spring severe weather season, and we also have a fall and winter severe weather season. It's just that simple. But I want to say thank you to everybody who follows the Storm Alert Center. I want to thank Keith Richardson for his work, everything he does. I want to thank the Breeding Fire Department, the Adair Weather Command for providing us information out in the field. And just all in all, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because we need to be a tight-knit community. And I think we are. I think we do well at what we do, keeping people updated, and it's kind of like a big family here. And I'm thankful for every last one of you who follow us. And we look forward to another year of doing the same thing, maybe have some new things to discuss as we go into the spring tornado season, working on some ideas. And one of the things that we have here is our WX150 weather tracking device. And that's not through the internet. It's a on-site storm tracking system. And there's not another one around here. We can go out about 150 miles, and we know where the storms are. If the radar goes down, it's live information, and it's proved to be truthful and helpful several times since we have acquired it. We appreciate the fact that we're able to have that, and it means a whole lot to us. But with that being said, we want to say thank you all for tuning in. I don't know how many people's watching us or anything. I haven't looked at that, but thank you all so much for everything that you do, for making us part of your weather arsenal when bad storms move through. We appreciate it. God bless each one of you, and may you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.